So when you go into AutoCAD, you open a new drawing, and it will look like this. The first thing we want to do is change the units. We come in here and we type units, and we want to go from decimal to architectural. That should be your first step on any new drawing. Next thing is I want to get rid of this grid, and then I want to change. So I'm going to type in options. If I start typing, it comes up with, I did OP, it comes up with what is the most common things first. I go to colors, and I want to change the background to white. And then I apply and close. I say, okay, so now I've got a white background to work with. No questions right now. Then what I asked you to do was to draw a rectangle using the line command. There's 3 ways to get to the line command. You can use the line command. You can type in line. It'll come up, and you choose the same command. Or you can do the quick key, which is that sheet I gave you, and you type in L, and it goes to line. So the 2 quickest are to use this upper left-hand line key or to type in the quick key. So I asked you first to do a line that's 12 feet across. And notice right now I don't have my ortho on. So F8 puts ortho on, push it again, it takes ortho off. F3, you can see it says object snap off, object snap on. I'm going to leave ortho on and object snap on. And I'm going to go over 12. The biggest mistake I saw people making over and over again was they didn't type in feet. And you can't write the word feet. You can't write FT. You have to use the notation for feet. So I hit return, and it's way off of my screen, so I can zoom out and I can pan over. So there's my line. Now I could have kept going if I've got 2 lines in here. I could have kept going if I had my limits set and my screen was out far, but I'm going to just do line again. I've got my ortho on, and I've got my O snap on, so it goes right to the edge of the line. And I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to type 10 feet. And then I'm going to come over here and continue drawing the line as long as I don't hit escape. And I'm going to line it up with the top line by just going up to that line, hovering over, I get a square. See that square? And then I'm lined up perfectly. And then I will come up and close that loop. So when I'm done with this, I've got 4 individual lines. Next, we drew a rectangle. And the rectangle, I specify the corner I want to start. I start pulling in the direction I want. And then at the bottom, you can see that it asks for area, dimensions, or rotation. So I want dimensions, so I type in D. I hit return. When I say return, return is the same as enter. And then I'm going to do 12 feet, 10 feet. Notice I've got another rectangle that's adjacent to this. Now this rectangle is one continuous polyline, one continuous line around. So the next thing that we did was we offset. And we offset 6 inches. Ayanna, why don't you, oh, I can turn it on here. We offset 6 inches. So I just type in 6. I don't need to type in inches because if it is, if you don't type feet or inches, it automatically assumes that it's inches. So I'm just typing 6. And if I go to here and I come to the inside, I've created an inside loop on my screen. I'm going to go over here and go 6 inches in on this one too. But you see I end up with these corners. Now there's 2 ways to fix that. I can do the trim key and I can get rid of the corner pieces like that. That's pretty easy. Another way that I can do is I can do the fillet key. And if I do the radius at 0, it will be a perfect square. And then the other thing I can do is do multiple. So I'm going to do the corner, and it lets me keep going. It would let me keep going all the way around because I did multiple. I could do it as many times as I want. So now this one has 8 individual lines. This one has 2 lines. You should be watching your screen. It stopped? Then go find somebody who didn't freeze because it's working someplace. Move down. There's people down there that didn't have it freeze. Go find them. Go sit with them. So this is 2 individual lines, 2 poly lines. What I want to do is to make them 4 lines is I want to explode them. And the way you do that is you put your mouse here and you create crosshairs over that. If I put my mouse here and I hold down, I'm going to create some funny, goofy thing. So click, drag, click. Then I've selected that whole area, and I can type in explode, and I've got that exploded. So now when I look at this, this is 4 lines, is 8 lines. Next, I want to fill it this corner. So I'm going to fill it, and I'm going to pick my radius, and I'm going to, it was 0 before because I was doing 45 or 90 degree angles. I'm going to pick 12, and it says select, it'll tell you what to do. So it's asking you to select first object. So I select the first one, I select the second one, I've got a radius. I could have continued to do that all the way around by hitting M after I had done the radius. Okay. So then I asked you to also make a copy. So again, what I did was there's 2 ways to do the copy. You can say copy and then click, drag, click, or I can do click, drag, click, and then right click, and I've got the copy selection option here. Let me, that's not gonna work. Okay. All right, so I've got it. So I'm gonna make a copy. I'm gonna do it by hitting the copy button first, drag, and then I'm gonna move. And I wanna move it up here. I missed one step that I had asked you to do. I asked you, so I'm gonna undo that. I asked you to offset one of the interior walls 6 feet. So here's our offset again. And I'm going to type 6, and this time I have to type feet, or it will think it's inches, and I've gone 6 feet over. And then I want to repeat offset, so I can just hit the return button, and see how it comes up, repeat offset. It will ask you if you want to repeat your last command. So I hit that, and it's at 6 feet. I need to make sure I turn it to 6 inches. So I turn, and there I've got it. Now here I need to trim this up. I can't use the fillet command because watch what happens if I use the fillet command with a 0 radius. And what's going to happen is it's going to take it from the top line. So I would have to draw the line over again. So I need to use the trim command. And then I've got my center area. So now I'm going to copy that. Again, copy, click, drag, click, and then select the objects. I'm going to take my F8 key and get the ortho off, so I've got it up higher. Now I want to, my next step was I drew a circle down at this corner point. So here's my circle command up here. I come down to where I want. I've got my O snap on, so it's snapping to the ends of lines. So I click that point, and then it asks me the radius, and I want the radius to be, if I want a 24-inch diameter circle, I want the radius to be 12. Oops, that's not, I think I've got the, I want it to be 24. Here we go. But here's, it looks like a little caboose. The next thing we did was, we can trim all the lines here now. So I want to trim all these lines away in here. What I can do is if I can go from right to left, see how it grabs all the lines on my trim command? So I created a little wheel. Then I hatched the area. So I came in with hatch, and I want a solid hatch in one of them, and then hit enter or return. That's filled solid. And then I want to do a hatch that is angled, so I'm going to do this ANS 131, and I'm going to click in here and I hit return. But they look the same, and that's because those hatch lines are so close together. So I'm going to click I'm going to click on it and see I got that blue dot, so I've selected that hatch area. I'm going to right click, go down to properties, and over in properties you want to be in the pattern area and see that scale. We're going to change it to 100. And I'd like you to get used to using your keypad on the right-hand side, not the numbers at the top. You're going to be much, much faster if you use your keypad on the right-hand side. If I see you using your numbers at the top, I'll tell you to shift. Okay, so that's what we drew. Then I asked you to put your name in there. So name is, when we do text, it's under annotate. So we go to multi-line text. I create an area and I draw where I'm going to draw it in. You type in your name. I'm going to make a mistake on purpose. You have to put the section number because I've got 2 AutoCADs. And then I hit return. And I had numerous people write their name, it's like 10 times. Because here's your name right here. And if I right click and go to properties, the reason it's so small, and we'll learn how to set up this before we start, is the text height is 3/16 of an inch. So if you imagine this is 12 feet across here and we're at 3/16 of an inch, that's why you're not seeing the text. So I'm going to change that to 6 inches, and all of a sudden I can see it. I've got a mistake in here. I didn't capitalize my last name, so I'm going to double click on it, and I can go in and edit anything I want. I can also pull this out to make it wider, but I like it stacked, so you can do that. So we'll learn a lot more about text. That was the end of that assignment. This will be up on Blackboard a little bit later today. It takes a while for Blackboard to process it. Okay, now you can ask questions.